obviously breaking news yesterday. I don't know when this is going to be posted, but yesterday this was announced that was it yesterday or was it the day before?
No, it's 2 days ago. Today is the 14th of August, for anyone who cares to know when we record this.
Okay. So it was announced that Kamala Harris is the VP, right? So originally we were going to discuss the possibility of Georgia being a swing state, right?
Right.
You're more optimistic than I am, and I'm not saying this because I was born there, but I personally think that Texas has a better chance of becoming a swing state, which you don't agree with. So that's kind of a good debate that we could probably have later on in regards to swing states. I personally think that Georgia is going to go towards. And by the way, we're on the politics side, just in case you listeners are trying to figure out what section we're in. And now we're on the politics section. I think Georgia is definitely going to go to Trump. I just don't sense that Georgia, Atlanta, and a lot of the outskirts of Atlanta can be blue. I live in a blue county, which is off of Atlanta. So I can see Atlanta going blue, but I just, especially with, Mayor Longbottom being here, and like she almost, we were kind of wondering if she was going to get wasn't it Mayor Longbottom? What's it? Sheila?
Mayor Bottoms?
Oh, is it Mayor? Why I keep saying Longbottom? For the longest time. My bad.
What?
Keisha Longbottom.
What? All right. Lance Bottoms. Keisha Lance Bottoms. Lord.
Hey, man, look, I still don't know how to say Mayo Pete's full name. I really don't. Like, I don't know how to say Mayo. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not – Mayor Pete, that's his name.
We'll leave the pronunciations of names to me.
Yeah, we'll just try to go. With Mayor Bottoms, we thought she was – because we were discussing if she would probably get the nod. Before we go into –
Yeah, because – sorry, well, I was just going to say the discussion that Zeus was talking about, we were having this prior to Biden picking his feet, right? Like, Biden was still kind of stringing us along, saying that I have a lot of qualified candidates, 4 of which are Black women, so we started talking about that and kind of pros and cons, right? Because I was asking Zeus, being a progressive, being more of a progressive than I am, I should say, who he thinks would be the best pick based on who can draw, whether it's more progressive votes, whether it's drawing more Black votes, who would be the best pick. So we started going through the list, and in that list was Stacey Abrams and Keisha Lance Bottoms, both from Georgia, of course. Stacey Abrams having run for governor, and Keisha Lance Bottoms being the mayor of Atlanta. And we were talking about how that could possibly tip Georgia to blue. And anyway, so that's the backstory of that. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, that's perfect. Thank you for clearing that up. So we had a discussion on who did we think, like you said, Abrams, Keisha, Lance Bottom. We also mentioned Elizabeth Warren. So basically, it was only women because he did say women, right?
Yes, he did.
Although I heard that some people try to throw men in there with the discussion. I was like, no, look, Joe Biden said woman. It was going to be a woman regardless. Like, there was not going to be any other way. So, like I said, we had that discussion, and we kind of knew. And I think both of us kind of sensed that it was going to be is it Kamala or Kamala? Because I hear both pronunciations.
Kamala, like a comma and la, Kamala.
So Kamala. So it's going to be Kamala Harris. We kind of sense that. We'll be honest. I'm going to tell you this. The feedback that I've seen on my personal Twitter and on my personal Facebook. Well, not my personal Twitter, because my personal Twitter is like mostly, progressive socialist, like followers and all that stuff, right? Because just
So
that's
echo
just
chamber. Yeah.
yeah, and it does become a little bit of but it still represents sometimes a lot of the views that I might have, right? But Facebook is more of the people that I know in real life, the people that I've met throughout life, whether it's been through school, work, just random places. Like, so even among all those people, right? Obviously, there's always going to be that one crowd that is going to be negative towards anything blue, right? The same way there's going to be that one crowd that's going to be negative towards everything red. There's that. But among the I guess the voters that you would think Biden was trying to reach out to, which was mostly African American community, I actually found the feedback to be, I was a little bit shocked actually at how it wasn't what I thought it was going to be. Like, I know my reaction was going to be, but I don't know about you, but on mine, because I grew up I went to a predominantly Black and Hispanic school. So our school was, if I'm not mistaken, they said it was we're going to go liberally and say 90%, it was split between Black and Hispanic, right? There was probably, I think there was like 12 white people that graduated from my class. And everybody else was Hispanic, Black, and Asian. And the majority of it was Black and Hispanic, right? So I have a lot of friends from high school on Facebook, and then I've heard their feedbacks, and there's been some people that have been very very strong, adamant about how it's a good pick. There's of course those people saying that if you don't vote for Biden, you're voting for Trump. Don't want to get into that discussion of how I think that's kind of.
There's a lot of time for that particular discussion. So
there is. That is a podcast for another day. But which maybe we could talk about that in November. Or going up to November, right? But so a lot of the feedback that I've gotten from it was like a lot of people are just not feeling it. Honestly, they're just not feeling it. Like, it's the whole, this is the thing I said. During this civil unrest that we have, because we're still under a civil unrest. Maybe there's not as many protests going on, and there's not a lot of, and then, thankfully not a lot of riots are going on. It's not active as it was back when George Floyd was murdered on for 10 minutes.
May 20 something. May last week. It was the last week of May when that happened.
Yeah, that's what caused the right. That was the match that caused the flame to happen, or whatever that metaphor is. Anyways, or saying is.
I know
you got it. You got it, and I'm sure our listeners got it. So when that happened, when that civil unrest happened, right? Joe Biden's already looked at with a little bit of a, kind of. And I think that's more among the younger Black voters. I don't know if you agree with me on that. Just like you said, it might be an echo chamber on Twitter, but from a lot of the different people that I hear on Twitter, on Facebook, and all that stuff, Joe Biden wrote the crime bill, which has led to minorities going, a lot of minorities going to jail. There's probably a lot of factors included in that people might need to include, but the general perception is that he is the author of that crime bill that caused a lot of people of color. So already people of color are looking at him like, are you really an ally? You were vice president for the first Black president for 8 years, but are you really an ally, right? Some people might look at him that way. You might not agree. That face looks like it might not agree with me. But then Kamala Harris was known for being the attorney general who sent the most people of color to jail. So already there's a bit of a negative light looked on her, right? So my thing is, why would you choose someone who has that perception versus instead of someone like Abrams, who some people try to put her off as a progressive, or Keisha, Mayor Keisha Bottoms. Some people try to push her off My wife's gonna kill me for saying that wrong. But so you know what I'm saying, like or not her, because you know this response that she's had has been kind of some people might not agree with it 100%, but it's been celebrated down here by a lot of people. You know, so why would you go for this person instead of that person? So like I said, the response that I've heard on my personal Facebook has been very lukewarm. Like some people like it. Some people like it because they just don't like the president right now and they just want him out. And some people are just like,
basically they would have liked anything.
Pretty much. So, but that's my question. Is it? So this is the thing though. I'm not going to get into that discussion. I was going to get a discussion about how this could be the easiest win that the Democrats had, and then it just seems like they just keep fumbling the ball through the entire way.
The absolute last thing I'll ever say is that this is going to be an easy win, because we know the Democrats have an uncanny knack for losing leads, kind of like the 2016 Falcons.
Don't do that.
Super Bowl.
We're not going into the Falcons section, sir.
Yeah.
We're not going into no, sir.
Right. I apologize. I am a Falcons fan. So
you're just not as bitter as I am.
I do want to point out a couple of things. Right. Firstly, it's about. I want to touch on the Georgia being a swing state thing. You know why I think that's the case. But prior to doing that, I want to touch on the Kamala Harris thing. So your question is, okay, she's perceived as, you know, the person who sent the most people of color to jail for like small level drug crimes and yada yada.
Yeah.
You know, why would you pick someone like that in this age of civil unrest where, you know, law enforcement is looked at unfavorably? The way I look at it, there were maybe 4 candidates that really had a shot at being VP, right? At the time when Biden made his choice. It was Harris, it was Warren, it was Demings, it was Bass. Now, I don't know if I told you, but I didn't tell you, because I was just asking you what you think.
Did you say Rice?
No. Well, I didn't say Rice. I don't think she was ever really a strong contender, to be honest.
She just one of those thrown out there, just maybe?
Yeah, because the thing is, everyone would have seen it as, oh, so we're just getting another Obama term. You know, so I think he didn't want to be too tied down to the last administration. You know, so it's like, but she was out there. I mean, I think she could still have a part to play in the administration, but anyways, that's besides the point. I thought, right, the ideal pick would have been Elizabeth Warren. Now, let me explain why, right? I think, and this isn't to say that you want to take the black vote for granted, right? But I think African Americans are the most loyal voting bloc for the Democratic Party. African Americans would have been pissed if you didn't pick an African American, but they would have still voted for Biden. I think the ones who still need to be convinced, so to speak, are the ones who feel like, you know, the progressive viewpoint doesn't get a fair shot in the Democratic Party. And I thought picking someone like Warren would be that olive branch. But then we talked, and then you mentioned that, well, some Bernie folks are actually still kind of pissed off at Warren for certain things that happened during the primary. I was like, well, then, damn. So there basically isn't a right answer.
So let me jump in real quick and explain what you're saying there. So, like I said, I follow a lot of progressives on Twitter. I listen to a lot of progressive politics, right? And different podcasts and all that stuff, different news venues that are more progressive leaning, right? And the one perception that a lot of them have about Elizabeth Warren, and if you look at who her campaign team was, which it was, I believe it was the same campaign team as Hillary Clinton's. And that's not a knock on saying Hillary Clinton is this way. I'm just saying I feel like she was misguided the same way that Hillary Clinton was misguided on how to do her campaign. And if people don't think that Hillary Clinton was misguided, remember she also lost to a reality TV star, which there was like when he announced that he was going to run for president, I was like, oh, this is going to be an easy win. And then he just and tell you the truth real quickly, I did not think that Donald Trump was going to win until that very day that the election happened. And then like I hadn't even seen the polls, but just something came over me, and all of a sudden I was like, I think this guy's going to win. And then I couldn't sleep.
For me, it was the day before. It was the night before the election when I was driving up to Columbus, Georgia, and I was listening to Hip Hop Nation, and this one DJ on there, I can't remember who it is, was taking callers. Sorry, and asking about the election, like, oh, are you voting tomorrow? Who are you going to vote for? And this one caller was like, well, no, I'm not voting because our votes don't actually matter. It's just these 538 people known as the Electoral College, they're the ones who vote. And it's just a waste of time to vote. And rather than, having a follow-up and being like, well, no, your vote dictates how those electors vote, the DJ was like, yeah, you're right. All right, well, have a good day. I was like, oh, no.
We've already thrown in the towel, damn it.
Right. So when he said that, I was like, how many people are listening to this and thinking, oh, I don't have to vote tomorrow? I was like, oh, no.
See, the thing with that is, I don't think that was just the DJ being influential. That was just the DJ was representing what he feels like a lot of people will probably be saying, because a lot of times, I do hear that a lot